ain't nothing like technical issues at the beginning of the stream, but I know how to edit that out. Shouts out to Final Cut Pro. Anthony Santana, how you living, brother?
So we can't depend on AI, man. You still need a human controller,
Yeah,
man.
I
Can't
can't blame
troubleshoot fast
Chat
enough.
GPT or Perplexity AI, right? That was
Yeah,
something
man.
else going on behind the scenes. Man,
Yeah,
what
man.
is good with you?
Look, man, I am blessed to be here. Super excited. Been pumped up all day to be here
Love it.
to chat with you because I just know you're gonna just bring it, and I'm ready for what you got, man.
We gonna get into it, brother. We
I'm
gonna
ready.
get. I see some folks chiming in here in the back. I think I know
Nice.
who this may
Oh,
be.
that's
Hold
my
on,
other half.
we're gonna start here first, right? This gonna be the first comment that we
Yeah.
put to
All
keep
right.
you out of
Yeah.
trouble, right?
Yeah. Keep me out of trouble for sure.
don't want
I love
nobody.
it.
Yeah, we don't want
Yeah.
no
I love
trouble
it.
here. So good to see you too as well, Flo.
Nice.
Listen, man, I think folks know who you are. Right. Again, I normally don't assume, but I am going to make that assumption. We've seen your face everywhere, especially in the content creation ecosystem. But so let's. I normally ask this question at the end, but
Okay.
let me ask you. Tell us what you're doing today, specifically in the content creation ecosystem, both from kind of a professional job, professional engagement, things like
Uh,
that. So what you're doing with vidIQ, and also what you're doing for yourself in the content creation ecosystem. And the reason I'm flipping the script and starting with that first is because that's going to tie into kind of some of the conversation, if you don't
Okay.
mind.
Cool. Yeah, definitely for it. So, on the personal side, I guess we'll start there so you guys get to know me a little bit better. I focus on teaching gamers specifically how to be able to go ahead and start and launch their live streams to kind of turn their passion for gaming into something a little bit more, ultimately to make them go full time, to support their family, to allow them to create content and to impact the lives of others. So I've spent my personal time building the tools, resources, and kits that they need to be able to understand the beginning, middle, and end process to ultimately achieve their dreams. So that's where I've been the last 4 years, creating content on YouTube and across other social media platforms, just educating. I consider myself an online education company for the gaming industry. And then on the professional side, just like James mentioned, I'm a creator success coach for vidIQ, where it kind of is just like everything matches so well together, where I focus on helping other creators try to succeed in their journey by teaching them the right practices and strategies, and help them uncover their own mindset and potential through their journey, to help them achieve whatever dream they want to achieve and whatever impact they want to create. So that's kind of my current role at vidIQ currently right now.
Listen, man, that's huge, right? I mean, vidIQ is the truth. I'm using them to help me manage my site,
Mm.
manage my channel, and find best practices, A/B testing, helping with tags and all the things. How did you? How does that fit into kind of what it is that you're doing again from your side? Because I know you work with gamers primarily in the
Mhm.
past. You've created like overlays, you've created scenes, you do a lot of things with the Twitch audience. So how does something like a vidIQ fit into the lostcurry.com world
Yeah,
and kind of the things
sure.
that you're doing from your perspective? Are they mirroring the two, or are they how do they fit together, I guess?
Yeah, I think they fit well, so good together because it's not just, my ultimate goal is like streamer is the kind of title that gamers have kind of adopted, but ultimately my mindset for them is to not become a streamer first, but to become a gaming content creator, right? And that's the shift that I'm trying to make for them. So where vidIQ comes in the picture is that I'm able to assist other creators. So from this standpoint, I get now a bird's eye view and a deep view of other creators in different industries and different spaces and different experiences, different challenges that are going to also allow me to equip and adapt more, not only in my own personal content, but the people that I'm going to be helping. So it's just the idea of understanding that I'm able to serve and share my knowledge and experience and be able to like motivate and inspire creators to achieve their dreams. I think it just, vidIQ allows me in this sense to tap into the other passion that I have, which is business and marketing and motivation, inspiration,
Yeah.
and thinking about business as a content creator. And then the gaming side is like also a passion of mine because I grew up in that space. I grew up as a gamer. And then I want to share that knowledge. Just like, hey, this doesn't have to just be something you do on the weekend. If it's something you truly are passionate about, then you can turn this into something more and actually generate money from it that actually supports your style of living. So that's where I'm trying to stay in the gaming space, and just vidIQ just like amplifies that because I get to see the real estate agents, the chiropractors, the cooking
Man,
channels, and exposes me to so much. And allows me to expand my brain to think differently and to use different strategies and tactics to help those creators grow. So it's just like a win-win.
man, I love that. And that was kind of a softball, kind of loaded question, and I think
Yeah.
Shauna picked up on it because she said, "Yeah, this is the perfect role for him." So I had a feeling of that, and I had an assumption of that, but I wanted to hear it directly from you, right? How this just karma being a good thing, or just good things
Mm,
for good people, right? And this
right.
particular role, from a professional perspective, worked out really nice for what it is that
Mm,
you do for yourself as well, right? Let's get into some opportunities that are out there right now.
sure.
So again, kind of the topic for today was making sure that we remove roadblocks, making sure that we stay focused on what it is that we need to do to be successful for content creators.
Mhm.
And listen, with YouTube coming out recently, today, last 24, 48 hours or whatever,
Mm.
and saying, I made the joke before we went on, all you need is 2 subscribers. And
Yeah.
I don't want to make light of it, but right,
Yeah, yeah,
the barrier of entry into the partner program and to get
yeah. Mhm.
monetized for YouTube has been dramatically decreased. So there is almost very little excuse. Right. So if that was a roadblock at one time, if that was a roadblock 72 hours ago, it's no longer a roadblock.
Right.
What is the conversation that you're having with, and let's start with the small creators. What is the
Sure.
conversation you're having with small creators about getting out of their own way, avoiding those roadblocks, about either turning on these lights, pressing record, uh, getting away from the technical issues like we had at the very beginning, right? But still
Mhm.
being able to move on from that. What are some of the main things that you're hearing from folks that hit you up for coaching and say, I can't do this, but then you have to go
Mm.
around and tell them, no, yes, you can do this.
Right. Yeah, I think that's an amazing question because this is something that comes up quite frequently. So, number one, it always starts with that as becoming a creator, there are multiple skills and multiple hats that you have to wear, right?
Mm,
So, the first question is like, which one do I focus on first, right? Where do I put my attention? How do I begin this actual process? Because it is very vague, right? For most creators, when they're first getting started, they believe it's just upload and that's it. But there's a whole bunch of process that goes into it. So what I always begin is that everyone's like, if you had, $2,000 to be able to spend, what would you spend it on? Most creators like, I need to buy the best gear. Well, I came across a creator that has over 400,000 subscribers, over 300 videos, and every video they've ever created has been done strictly on their iPhone, right?
wow.
And let's just put that into perspective right now, where it's like there's kind of we have all the tools that we actually need, and when creators can get out of the mindset to know that when you first start, you're not going to be good, right? I
Yeah.
think that's the first conversation you have. It's just like this imposter syndrome of like my thing needs to be perfect out of the gate. And if it's not perfect out of the gate, I can't put it out there because I'm not ready to kind of get people to judge me. So the first battle, even though the barrier to entry is a lot lower, it's always going to be a mindset conversation, right? And I think that's where like the vidIQ kind of coaching comes in, where it's like it's more about than just the strategic knowledge and the technical knowledge that we have to give you, but it's more about like the connection and the emotional support that we can connect with
Mm,
you to kind of share and get your mindset to like think differently, right? Because I think that so many times like a creator comes, it's like, how do I grow my channel? And really we try to uncover and go back, and it's like, why do you want to grow your channel, right?
right.
What are you thinking? What are you trying to achieve? So I believe that like the biggest roadblock is going to be mindset, believing that they can actually do it, and kind of surrounding themselves with like a support group that allows you to be able to know like you can start slow, right? Just get out there and just get comfortable in front of the camera, sharing your information, getting out there, and putting that content in online because that's where the journey starts. So
Yeah.
I believe that's the biggest focus.
That's cool. Because essentially you're talking about community, right? You're talking about building
Mm,
community, and you talk about bringing other. Again, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but
yeah.
that's one thing that particularly drew me to the eCam community,
Mm,
right? Just the fact that it was a community. It was folks that were out there. There were no big eyes. It was everyone out there helping each other. It was the conversation. It was the assistance late at night, right? It was folks telling me that
mm,
I needed to tighten up my thumbnails and my overlays and all that,
yeah.
and then helping me do that. So it was that
Yeah.
conversation, and it's just really it's refreshing to hear a large organization like something like where you're involved with now with vidIQ
Yeah.
having that discussion, right? Having that as a
Oh, yeah.
conscious piece of the conversation. Let's build on what matters to the creator. Let's build that
Mm,
community and let's help them with their mindset. Um, mindset's a tricky thing, and I'm gonna
Mm,
ask you a question off the top of the dome
sure.
here. I always talk about
Yeah.
motivation.
Mm,
I I I I don't think I can motivate anyone. I
okay.
don't. I honestly think that externally we can't motivate folks. I'm so.
Mm,
I think you have to have that innate to yourself. I can help be an advocate, and I can help guide and be someone who
mm,
helps you, pushes you over the edge, or helps you with different scenarios and helps you understand different conversations. Things. But I think motivation is something that you have to be innately something that has to be part of you.
mm.
What's your thoughts on that when it comes to, again, someone who says, I don't feel like doing I want to do this, but I don't feel like doing this. When you wake up in the morning, you got 24 hours more to try go out there and do
Yeah.
something. What's your thought when it when it
Yeah.
comes to something like that?
Um, yeah, this is a great question. I think that like the questions are perfect for the season that I'm currently in. And something I've been learning recently is the ability to ask powerful questions, right? And I think that when you're able to go ahead and, like you said, it's kind of hard to motivate someone, but again, it's also understanding who that other person is and uncovering like what are their driving factors, because we all have a greater purpose. We all know why we want to do something regardless, right? For me, it's like I know that like I'm not just waking up for my family. I'm waking up because I want to go ahead and motivate and inspire 10,000 purpose-driven gaming content creators to do what it is that they love, to be able to support their family and impact the lives of others, right? So when I uncover that why, of why I'm doing this, then it allows me to be able to like get out of that motivation, have that self drive. So for me, when I'm talking to those creators that are like, oh, I don't want to do this, I'm not in the mood, it's they just haven't uncovered like why they're trying to do this, right? Sometimes there's outside emotion or something that brings it in, where it's like you see other people having success and you just want to imitate that same success. And the missing component of why you can't achieve it is because that person who achieved that success had a purpose for why they were doing it. So for me, it would be talking to that creator and asking powerful questions to really dig deep into their mindset of like, why do you want this? Why? What are you trying to accomplish? What does that look like for you in the future? What do you want to be? Right? What happens if you don't achieve that? What's that going to change for you? So I think it comes down to powerful questions. I do believe that you can't motivate someone, but when you can ask the right questions to get them to fire themselves up, and I think in coaching, that's what you ultimately want to do. You never want to the other person to feel like you're telling them what to do. Your job is to encourage them to uncover it on their own. Like,
Mm,
oh, I had this idea. Yes, you did. And now let me show you how you can kind of build on that. And that's how you have those connections, those relationships with people, because then they feel like, wow, like he just asked me the questions and I came to the realization on my own. Now I'm motivated. Now I'm driven. Now I'm fired up. And like, this is what these podcasts do for me, right? When I'm talking to you, you
yeah,
asking me these
yeah.
questions,
Listen,
I get fired
we
up.
ready, right?
I get
We
fired
ready to
up,
go run a
man, because
marathon, brother.
you're like, it's just like just now sharing like why I do it just fired me up, right? Like, oh, I'm fired up now. So again, it's those like having that purpose is what really kind of allows you to be able to kind of keep pushing forward and motivate people.
I love that. And
Yeah.
you've had a lot of that already, right? Again,
Mm,
so listen, I've been watching your content for a long time, and I
yeah.
see the energy and I see the drive and I see all that in you. But lately, and within the last couple of weeks, you put out
Mhm.
a post saying
Okay.
that you've had a shift in the
Mm,
content creation, in your content creation mindset, right? You saying
right.
that I'm only putting out what matters to, well, let me not even answer it for you, but I'm just going to say
Okay, sure.
you had a shift in terms of what you're going to put out there, and you're not just going to be putting out content
Mhm.
to put out content. You're not going to
Right.
just be putting out stuff. You're doing what I'm trying to do as well, raise above the noise and
Mm,
bring true value in terms of every time
right.
you put something out there, because we know if it's out there on the internet, it stays forever. So if it's
Yeah.
got your name and it's got your face on it,
Yeah.
so let's talk a little bit about that, man. Let's talk about this IG post that you put out, and I'll put a
Okay.
link to
Yeah.
uh, your handle out there so folks know where it is out there on Instagram. But in short, it says, "Gone are the days of posting to post and creating as much content as possible to be seen. Mm.
Mhm. Yeah.
Shifting to focus on less, more thoughtful content that can genuinely add value and serve the small streamers. It's no longer about what I want to create, but what you want and need." Man,
Right.
that's a
Yeah.
master class right there. That's 301 level stuff
Look,
right there.
man,
Come on,
that
man. Talk to us about that.
so that again, it's just like as you go through your content creation stage, right, and you go through this and you're constantly learning and trying to adapt, right, you start to elevate above just the foundational things that are normally taught, right, where it's just like you just gotta, and I believe there's a time for quantity, right? Like I think
Hmm.
if you're in that learning phase, like quantity is important for you, right? Because you want to kind of get out the kinks, be able to learn the things you need to do. And I'm still there, but now for me, it's like my focus is more on growth and building deeper, more meaningful connections with the people who are consuming my content, right? Because for a long time, I'm just chasing new viewers, chasing
Hmm.
new people, right? And it's like, okay, cool. I want that to be a part of my strategy. I always want new people to come into my ecosystem, but I'm losing out on like going deeper with the people who already have been connected with me for the year, last year, 2 years, right? I'm not thinking about them. So for me now, like when it comes to content, and I'm in this season right now where like I'm super obsessed with understanding audience development and the way my audience thinks and like where they're currently at in their journey and really trying to uncover because in the beginning of my content creation stage, it was just about like sharing like my experiences, right? Which is okay. I was just documenting what it was that I was going through.
Right.
But after a while, you start to see yourself like get stagnant. It's just because, okay, look, like you've gotten you're not in touch with the people that are now watching your content. People are always evolving and growing. So if you're not in the trenches trying to uncover who that person is. So for me with this post, it was about like no longer I'm just gonna say I gotta do 5 posts on Instagram this week because I gotta keep the algorithm happy. I gotta
Right.
make sure that
Right.
I'm posting content consistently, right? Now, eventually I'll get to that point where like now I can do quantity and quality, right? Once I can build a team and do, but right now I know that if I'm more happier to post one piece of content a week that's super meaningful, that's really thoughtful. Like just look at this post right here, right? It captured your attention. It really resonated with you to the point where
Hmm.
we're talking about it now. One piece of content, not five. So for me, it's now understanding like when I create, it's not creating for me. It's understanding and making sure that my audience knows that I'm listening, that I'm in tune with what they want right now. And then it makes it seem to when I post the content, they're just like, man, this guy is thinking what I'm thinking and it's perfect. And that's how my focus is to like build that relationship, get to know that person. When that person comments on my post, it's no longer like just heart it and let's let it go.
Yeah.
I want to respond. I want to take the conversation to a DM. I want to ask them because why? Why did you engage with this post? Right? What about it really stood out to you? Right? And I'm asking those questions. These are questions I wasn't asking before because I now see the true value in like the audience is the key. Understanding who it is that you're
Wow.
trying to serve and
Wow.
what they want is like the key to growth and the key to success. And I think that when people can like, I guess like I saw you backstage, it was like my biggest thing right now is like humanizing brands, right? Like how can we humanize your personal brand and your company and your business so that way it's more relatable with the people that actually matter. So I know that was deep, but
Hey, we get
but
deep
that's
around
kind of
here, brother. Listen,
that's that's kind of what I'm feeling. I'm just true to my heart, man. Like
as hey,
I have
let's
a
let it
burning
marinate
passion for
too,
this.
folks. Let's let it
Yeah,
marinate. So y'all think
yeah,
about it, and if you got questions, put
yeah.
Q in front and drop it in the comments so we can have Anthony answer that. But where you at, or where you've been, and where you're at, and where you're
Mhm.
verbalizing right now is just the fact that the community matters. We
Right.
don't do this for ourselves. Right.
Mm.
Again, we there's a lot of things that we could be doing. I could be out here cutting the grass, or I could be sleep
Yeah.
getting ready for my 8 hour drive tomorrow to Oregon.
Yeah.
But we do what we do because we are shepherds of our community,
Mhm.
and the community is asking for. So from this perspective, they're asking for entrepreneur, solopreneur, digital content creator type content,
Yeah.
and finding folks that are winners and folks that are out there doing the thing. So that's what I'm bringing to you today. I'm bringing you
Mm.
Anthony Santana, right? So we're doing what is being asked of us as proper
Mm.
shepherds of the community. And once you realize that it's not about you, it's not about the likes and the super thanks and the super. It's not
Mm.
about all those things. It's about having those relationships, the networking, hitting someone in the DMs after they see this piece of content that resonate with them, and building that professional relationship. So once folks get to that, again, I'm bringing it back to fighting roadblocks and
Mm.
eliminating roadblocks, right? So once the
Yeah.
content creators, once the entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, any industry realize that it's not about them, and it's about the audience, it's about the sales, it's about the marketing, it's about the community, it's about all those things. That's where the growth happens. That's kind of where the foundation. That's where the growth happens. That
Yep.
you agree with that?
100%, man. I think that a lot of times start doing something in the beginning, right? Like think about it. As you're when you're a small creator, when you're a small business, right? Every interaction matters to you, right?
Yeah.
Like you really truly care about that. So this not it's not something that is not natural to us, right? It's just at a certain point you detach from the things that you used to do and you start looking at new ways and new strategies and things like I have like let's say 37,000 subscribers on YouTube, right? But how many of them do I actually know?
Mm.
What does that number mean? Right. And that's where like I start to detach myself from like how many subscribers I'm getting, how many views I get, right? Like I want to say like I know my community and I know my audience, right? I want to have that small pool because I know that when you have a small group that really cares about you, understands who you are, and then they can boost everything else that you do when you launch a new product, when you drop a new video, when you're going to do an event, when you're going to do a podcast. That small community begins to be the starting of the fire, right? And then it grows from there. So for me, it's less more about like numbers, more playing about the long game and looking at like how. And I guess somebody told me this like the other day. It was like when you meet a friend for the first time, you're not gonna meet them in that first day and then say, "Hey, can you help me move on Saturday?" That's a big ask, right? Like helping you move is pretty big. So the idea is to get to know that person, build that relationship with them way before you ever need them, right? So that way, when you
Hmm.
come in and you have the ask, you've already deployed so much value, so much into their life that when you ask for it. They feel almost obligated to do it, right? So that's the thing for me where it's like, oh, like okay, not everybody can afford coaching. Okay, cool, that's fine. But if you ask me a question and you send me a message and I can take the time, like it's so more impactful that instead of me sending out a message in IG and I do a voice message, just something as simple as that is way more impactful and creates more of a deeper connection to where in the eyes of the viewer, they're like, is he even going to respond to me? Like,
Yeah.
he's so busy. I'm thinking he's going to respond. But when they get that message back and it's just like me in my voice, it's not somebody else in my behalf that's sending a message. They hear my voice. The response every single time is like, wow, I really appreciate you taking the time to be able to respond back to me and to be able to help me. Your content has changed my like, and then I get to know them, right? Okay, cool. What brought you to my content?
Right.
So I think that it's just like we can start leveraging the pieces of content that we do as conversation starters, and then we take it a little bit deeper and start dating the viewer that's engaging with our content to ultimately get to understand why,
Hold
because
on,
then
man.
you can make
Hold
more
on,
of that.
brother. You can't just drop bombs like that.
Okay.
Start dating the viewer.
Yeah.
Boy, I
100%.
need to rewind the tape right now. Hey, Chris Stone, you know that's gonna be
Yeah.
my micro content right there. Man, that's okay. That's dope.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
I'm
100%.
seeing other folks coming into the comment. This Darius Kane, see you in here.
Hey, Darius.
CC, Chris
Chris is in there too.
Stone, Deal
Nice.
Casters, see Hicks Senior in the building. So we officially
Nice.
having the show. I mean, and that's again that's the word right there, right? Because you are a nice size channel, right?
Mm,
37,000 plus subscribers. And someone at that level has had, even at a smaller channel level, probably have brands reaching out, right?
right.
Because you're, one thing, you're consistent. One thing, you got
Mm,
a really good message. You got a good community. But the fact that you're at that level, that means that you've been out there, you've fallen down, but you've
mhm.
gotten back up, right?
Sure have.
You've gone through some things, you've iterated, and
Yep.
you probably put some things into your workflow, into your process, and said, at one time I used X, Y, and Z. Today or now I'm using A, B, and C, and I'm doing it this
Mm,
way. And you
right.
know that 10% more than the other person coming up behind you, and you're willing to share that. And by the fact
Right.
that you're responding to those comments, they're like, damn, okay. Anthony out here, 40,000 subscribers here. He's got the IG account blowing up. He's got
Right.
Twitch so he's got a nice following. So someone's listening, and for the fact that you to take that time to
Right.
again recognize that it's not about you and it's about the community, it's about building
Mm,
those relationships. That's really huge, man. Um,
right.
man, let me let me
It's
uh,
huge.
let me ask you this, man, because again, you're saying some things, and like Chris Stone put out there,
Mhm.
fire, man. This is what it's all about. All about.
Yeah.
Um, in our way again, right? So
Mm,
so again, now that we have the reduction in the requirements of getting monetized, let's just talk about turning the lights on, press record.
Sure.
firing up the computer, what are some of the limitations and some of the excuses that you're seeing
Yeah.
folks uh, come to you with? And we're gonna try to squash all that right now. We're gonna try
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
eliminate those roadblocks and figure out what's
Yeah.
that biggest pet peeve or pain point that you're seeing folks coming at you with, and you're tired of even answering it. But let's talk
Yeah.
about it right now and see if we can get that out in the open.
Yeah. Yeah, I think one of the biggest things is like everybody wants to make a good first impression, right? I think nobody wants to, come out and not look their best, speak their best, and do their best, right? And I
Mm,
think that's the biggest hurdle, right? When it comes to like turning on your light, and it also is like a lack of knowledge, right? Of understanding how to utilize the resources that you already have at your disposal to
mm,
best aid you in your content creation, right? Because I remember when I first got started, like I used the big window, right? I used a webcam that was like $15.
yeah.
Used the mic that was on the webcam, because at the end of the day, in the beginning, you don't realize that like your quality is not as important as the message that you're trying to share, right? And
Wow.
and you don't learn that early on. So when you're going through that process of like, you know, it's more important what you're saying than how you actually look, right? Because at the end of the day, no matter how bad it sounds, we only care about ourselves, right? So when I'm watching your piece of content, all I'm thinking about is like, how does this add value to my life, right? So if what you're saying is adding value to my life, I'm connected, I'm plugged into you. So that's the mind shift that we need to get people to really understand. Like when you're sitting there trying to think about the gear and turning on your camera and trying to speak, it's just like there's no other way to kind of get someone to take that first step than to just record, right? And this is something I even shared on Dealcasters, where it was like I talked about like I every time that somebody joins my community, the first thing that I share with them is like, hey, as embarrassing as this is, go and look at my first video. Right? Go and look at my first video to just see how I didn't know what I was doing, right? I didn't know what I was going to be sharing, how I was going to be approaching it. But if I wouldn't have started, I wouldn't be here where I am today. And that's always where I kind of take it. And when you can show somebody where like they don't know your story, and I think that's huge about like understanding when we look at people that have success, we only see them from the moment that we met them, right at the top, right? James Hicks is here at the top, has his production, does all, but nobody sees James Hicks 10 years ago, right?
Hey,
And
man,
when
hold on, hold on. No, hold on. You want me to pull up this first video?
Yeah, you can pull it up. Hey, you can pull it up, man. I think
Bruh,
that
hold on.
I've definitely come to the conclusion of understanding like it's
Look at this,
embarrassing
brother.
to see it,
No,
but at
you
the end of
good.
the day, look, at the end of the day, man, it motivates me to see that I'm growing and progressing every single day. So yeah, feel free to share, it, man. I'm 100%
You said that was
open.
only 3 years ago. You look
Yeah,
like 10
yeah,
years ago, man.
it's crazy. Okay,
Okay, hold on, hold on.
so definitely
This
was a
this
journey,
this
man. Look at
man look
this. Oh
this
my
man look
goodness, I got to turn my camera off.
hold I looked at it
I'm
and said,
telling
wait a
you.
minute, this young man right
Yeah,
here. I love it,
man.
boy. I ain't mad at you
Um,
though. I ain't
yeah,
mad
I'm
at you.
telling you right now. So and you look at those moments and you're just like, all I did was look at it what other people were trying to do, and I just like was like, I'm just gonna come in there, man. Like I'm not even blinking, I'm like eyes coming down,
My
top of
man
the
is not
dome, just
breathing.
going talking like so, and those are like those are like good experiences that have cultivated a lot of journey because that guy back then 3 years ago was just curious. That was
Yeah,
it.
man.
Just curious.
That's enough though,
Um
right? I mean, that
and
because again, that's enough that got you started. You were
right.
curious and you wanted to go out there and do something, have your
Yeah.
own digital real estate and landscape. But boy,
Right.
you can't tell me that was just 3 years ago because you showed it
That
looked
that
like
was
you was
three
straight.
year three that was 3 years ago, man. I'm telling you, it's one of those things where you look at it and it's like I also when I started the channel, like I knew nobody was gonna be watching. Right?
Mm,
So I didn't approach it with the idea like my whole channel grew by mistake, right? I didn't come in there with the mindset of like I'm going to do this for money. I'm going to build the business. Like that's not where you start your mindset. Like it's good to come in with that mindset, and if you have that mindset and you can approach content creation like to fuel your business instead of
yes.
utilizing YouTube to be your business, then you can go ahead and like also succeed. But for me, it just came from me saying like, hey, I just want to document what I'm learning the week prior. I don't see nobody making these kind of videos, and I just want to help people, right? I'm tired of people coming into my stream and asking me these questions that I could just make a video on. So, I just started recording, and, little by little, like, the channel started to grow. I even quit the channel, right? I even quit the channel. And Shauna, it's like, yo, your channel's like at 5,000. Like, what are you doing with it? Like, nah,
Where you going?
I'm done. I'm done doing that. I mean, it just like, it was a season in my life where it was just like, the people around me tainted the vision that I had of like
Mm.
what gaming was and what being a content creator was. The people around me, I allowed them to have power over my
Ooh.
mindset, to believe
Ooh.
that I needed to go back to going to a job to be able to kind of succeed and in their eyes be successful, right? So I adopted their mindset, stopped my dreams, and went back to the corporate world and stopped any kind of side hustle, right? Until you get a person that comes into your life that shifts that mindset and kind of is almost like Shauna lit that spark back in me that was
Come
so
on
deep,
now.
and it was a trauma, but as she unlocked it in me, was like, you can't give this up. And I don't care what nobody else says, but I'm going to push you and you're going to do this, right? And I'm so grateful for it, because the people that I've met, the opportunities come about, how I've transformed into a person, all came from like that one video that I started 3 years ago. So I always tell creators, especially when I'm talking to them, it's like, the last thing you want is regret, right? Like, if you don't start today, like, tomorrow's still going to come. So, and you're still going to have those ideas and those visions and that passion. The biggest thing that I get creators say is like, oh, I had that idea for keto 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Wish I would have started it. Oh,
Man, okay,
you
and
know,
we got
that
validation. I know she's sitting
validation.
in another room. She's sitting
Oh,
in the
yeah,
other room.
yeah,
She might
yeah.
as well come on
She's
in here. No,
somewhere in the house. She's
she
somewhere in the
said,
house.
true story. I was like, you got 5,000 subscribers. You better start that channel back up. Listen,
Yeah,
but you
100%.
right, you came with something, and I want to. That's going to be the next point that I want to talk about.
Yeah, sure.
When you got folks in your world,
Mm,
and you got this crab in a barrel situation.
mm,
You got folks that want you to succeed when they look at you. But when
mm.
you step out the room, and I'm not saying everyone has this, and I'm not saying this is
Yeah.
everyone's situation, but again, you can't be better than me, because
Mm,
who are you? I need to be
right.
better than you, or you need to bring us all together. You can't have the nice ride without me, that kind of thing.
Mm,
And when you get to
right.
that distinction of you winning, and you have to cut people loose,
Right.
right? That's a
Mhm.
roadblock as well, and that's a huge mental hurdle, I think, for folks to to
Mhm.
to step over. Talk to us a little bit about the strength that you had, or when you saw that time, right, where it was
Yeah.
that you were going down a different road, you had a different trajectory,
Mm,
and it was time for you to pivot, and when it's time to get around some other folks, some folks that
yeah.
are doing similar things, have similar mindset, positive outlooks, and things like that. Talk about how you found that, and how you use that to grow your content creation ecosystem and business.
Yeah, sure. I can remember like it was yesterday. It was Steve Harvey.
Mm,
And Steve Harvey was like, I don't have to know anything about you. But if you tell me the 5 people that you hang out with the most, I can tell you what your life is like. And that truly hit me to like analyze like who those people were, right? It was like, like everyone was complacent living the way that they were currently living, right? And even though they were complacent, every day they had the conversation of like they're tired of living this kind of life, but
mm,
no action was being taken. And when you're around those kind of people, right, and you share your big visions, your big ideas that were only giving to you and not to them, their quick ideas to think everything that's going to go wrong with that. So, and at that time, for me, it was just being young in the mindset of understanding like, these are my friends. Like I value what they have to say. I don't want them to hate me, and you get into that mindset of like, you want to be a people pleaser, right?
right.
And it becomes to where it's like, once I started to say, first I started operating in secret. That was number one, right? Where it's like I stopped sharing the moves that I was making with the
Mm,
people around me, right? Still friends, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to be done talking about it. I'm just going to be about it. I'm going to let them see how I operate and what I do and allow that to shift their mindset, right? And even though that's how I operated, instead of their mindset shifting, we just drifted apart,
Okay.
right? Because through that journey of me being in secret, I seeked other people, right? And the online world became my community, right? Where like mentors that didn't know who I were just because they were creating content were becoming my mentors, right? Jim Rohn, Les Brown, just like all these people that were like, took the time to make this piece of content that I felt that were more of my friends that
Mm.
aligned with where I was trying to go. So once I kind of like started wiggling out the people that were no longer, and it wasn't that like I can't be your friend no more. It was just like, look, man, like what you're trying to do this weekend is I'm not into it, man. Like
Yeah.
I rather do this. And it became from like, okay, and less time to hitting me up, less time to hitting me up. And from there, you start realizing that the minute that you declutter your life with the people that are no longer serving you, it's like magical. New people come into your life to fill those gaps that actually align with what it is you want to accomplish, right? People who are actually trying to achieve, right? And I think at that time I got connected to BNI, and just learning with people that are like trying to achieve something better, trying to improve at their craft. And when you see that, it inspired me to know like I want to go all in on this. I don't know nothing about cameras. I don't know nothing about lights. I don't know nothing. I know I can sell. Like I've been in sales for the longest time,
Yeah.
but ultimately it was just like I started diving deep into understanding like how do I better prove myself and how do I better develop myself as a person. And then this journey of content creation required me to learn new skills and new challenges that came about. But I started to realize that who I spoke to the most, where I invested my time, the relationships that I tried to develop were super important to how I was going to succeed and keep moving forward in this journey. So I believe that like connections and relationships are the key to allow you because this is a lonely journey. And if you try to
Yeah.
go at it alone, you will
Come on.
fail, you will quit, you will give up. It's just proven, right? It's not a matter of like when, just like it's just gonna happen because you have no outlet, you have nobody to share your struggles and your pains, right? And I think that we talked about it. It's just like it's hard to put a circle in a square or like a square in a circle, right?
Hmm.
I forget
Hmm.
how the saying goes, where it's
Hmm.
like you need to let other people that have other experiences and who are ahead of you and remove the ego, remove the
Yes.
pride, where it's like, I can't ask this person this question because they're so above me. You come to realize that those people understand where you're at. They look at you and they're like, I was there, man.
Yeah.
Like I truly want to help you. Like, let me help you save these 10 errors you're about to make. So like, man, like it really was that one, again, that one piece of content that was created by Steve Harvey that was the right time for me to hear, that was the right kind of like seed that was planted in my mind to start that process of developing new relationships and going down a new path. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for that piece of content, I believe.
I love that. And I know that speech that he did, and I'll find it and I'll put a link to
Yeah,
that in the description
that
as
was
well,
good.
because that was pretty
Yeah.
dope. I do remember that as well. Um, and listen, man, you didn't turn out all right so far.
Hey man, look,
Still moving,
I'm
still
grateful.
moving.
All glory to God, man. I'm
That's true.
grateful.
Amen. You know,
Yeah,
the
praise God.
man who was saved on the by the Xbox. We'll talk
That's
about
so
that
true.
story too one of these
Yeah,
days, man.
sure.
Because that's a great story as well. So now let's revert to what it is that you're doing, the value
Mhm.
that you're bringing, right?
Sure.
What you're bringing to folks that reach out to you, folks who look to your console for coaching and for guidance, things of that nature.
Mhm.
You, as I said, kind of in the opening monologue, you already have selling products, digital products. You
Mhm.
sell coaching and things of that nature, but you just released or announced a new package, right? Something
Right.
where you feel that you can bring some true value to, again, small,
Mhm.
medium sized creators and helping them get over, I'm gonna say, the administrative hump, right?
Right.
Getting over some of the things that are hard to decipher or a little difficult to decipher, but you've already got some templates and you've got some things in place. Talk a little bit about what you got there.
Yeah, so recently that's I just released the Ultimate Streamer Starter Kit, which at the end of the day, like this is a product that was built by the audience, not built by me, and it's a collection of questions, concerns, and things that you know a lot of people don't understand that when it comes to YouTube, there are some limitations on like what you can share and how deep you can go because the attention span is a lot different, right? You kind of, in a sense, do have to play the game of the platform to be able to kind of get the maximum exposure. And for me, I'm a big believer in like, I want to see you do the grunt work on your own, right? I want to see you
Mm,
put in the work, put in the time before I want to like really take that and take that time to really invest and foster you out, right? Because if you can't really work through step 1, 2, and 3 with tools given to you that you just have to consume and apply, then I know that you're more of a hobbyist, right? And
hmm.
and that's not the person that I'm trying to serve at the highest level. So this product is something that came about from people just asking for it. So the first product I released, and just to go back a little bit, I originally wanted to start a university, right,
Okay.
for streamers to be able to understand these 5 levels that I believe are the key to like truly become successful, right? But that was a product that I wanted to create and I felt they needed, right? When I launched that product, few accepted it, but right away I saw that it was too much, right? I was doing level 10 instead of focusing on level 1.
Okay.
So it was way above what the gaming world was kind of like ready for. So I spent a lot of time, energy, that was gone, but a lot of lessons were learned from that. So at during that time, I try to analyze what are the needs of my customer, what are the needs of my viewers, and I know that when somebody's starting to stream, the first thing they want to do is to make their stream look professional. They
Hmm.
want to have graphics, they want to have overlays, so I built a platform on Shopify selling templates and overlays for streamers, right? And that was a huge success. Why? Because they saw the value in that, and they already know, like, and trust me. So it's like when I'm recommending it to them, hey, this is how you make a stream look professional. Okay, cool. That's a digital product. Doesn't need me involved in it. I just need to make the content, get you educated on it, and then you can go purchase that.
Right.
So this tool came about that same information, the coaching, the consultations. I kept my DMs. How do I set up OBS? How do I go ahead and build a community? What are the steps that I got to take to be able to grow and get viewers? Right. And I'm like, I'm only one person. It's hard for me to be able to try to serve every single person and try to help every single individual. So I'm like, a lot of people are asking me for this. How can I turn it into a package and a kit that gives everybody everything that they need to get them to that hump where like now all they need to focus on is growth. So that's what the streamer starter kit is. It has a stream planner to allow them to be able to be organized and track to measure where it is that they're currently at. Gives them gear recommendations for all types of budget, whether you're just streaming on Xbox, on a PlayStation, on a PC, on a Mac, whether you have $200, we have $100, $50, gives them all the tools that
Mm,
I've kind of gone through and vetted for them, even tools and softwares, right, that they can utilize to help them in their content creation from free to paid tools. I've given them a massive graphic package that they can be able to utilize to make their stream look professional. And then a lot of the courses that I built that individually can have so much value, but I felt that it was needed to. So, how do you run OBS? How do you know and learn OBS? How to set up all your things? That's included in the kit. How to be able to think about, burnout, building camera confidence, how to go
mm,
ahead and think about building your community, these foundational skills that they need to develop and learn and understand so they can look at this journey with a big eye and just understand like, oh, okay, this is what it's going to take. This is the things that I need to work on every single day. So it takes a lot of the guesswork out of it. And my goal with this toolkit is to get somebody to the level where they can then now say, hey, I want to join group coaching, where you can now teach me how I
got you.
continue to implement these things and go from there. So I'm in the phase right now where I'm trying to build these tools and resources that require some work. I don't want somebody to just think it's a secret like a magic pill,
Mm,
because I know
okay.
the person that I know the person that I'm going to have success with at the highest level.
Yeah.
And in order for you to go there, this is like my way to be able to vet them, right? If you can't do this, you can't do this,
That's exactly where I was leading at to, right? Because this may start weeding out the folks who are
right?
saying, "This is cool. I want to do this. I see other folks out here doing this. I want to jump into the water as well." But
Right?
going through some of these checklists, going through some of these templates, and seeing, okay, here go my sports analogy. I always got to put a sports analogy, right?
Yeah,
You know, my
go for
Joel
it.
Embiid, right?
So
You
yeah,
got to respect this process, right?
yeah.
It
Mm,
takes a forward thinking, conscious mindset to do what it is that we do. It's not hard,
Right.
but you do got to be aware. You got to be conscious of it, and you got to realize that it's a marathon out here, right? We not out here
Right.
sprinting, right? We
Right.
not out here working on our
Right.
40 time, right? This
Right.
really is. I want to fall down sometimes. I
Mm.
welcome the error that happened at the beginning of this stream, right? Because I've seen it before. I knew how to recover
Mm.
from it, and then we made it happen, right? I welcome
Right.
that, so it's such that I can teach someone else down the road that, hey, when you see X, Y,
Right.
and Z, you see this particular incident happen, this is what you do. So, and if you're not ready, if you're not built for that, man, again,
Right.
this may not be for you, and that's all right.
Right.
I mean, because there's so many other aspects of content creation, solopreneurship,
Mhm.
entrepreneurship, and things like that nature that you can be involved in. Right? If you don't want to be on camera, or if camera on camera work is not for you, be behind the
Right.
scenes, be a remote producer,
Mhm.
right? Be someone who knows how to set up all these lights and knows white balance and
Right.
f stops and I right. So all of that stuff, right? So
Yeah.
know someone who knows Final Cut Pro and DaVinci Resolve, right? So
Right.
there's so many different aspects, and I'm mentioning all these different things, bringing it back again to
Sure. Let's
folks
go.
that you see what I'm doing, right? You see what
Yeah.
I'm
I like the way you think, man.
alleviating those
Oh,
roadblocks, and
right.
I can't do this. Oh,
Mhm.
Anthony's session says that I can't be a good content creator because I don't have this particular skill. Well, again,
Right.
there are so many other avenues that you can go into in this digital content creation
Mhm.
ecosystem. So get out of your
True.
own way and alleviate those roadblocks and say, I'm gonna be the remote producer for these creators. I'm gonna be the
Right.
person who builds studios. I'm gonna be the
Mhm.
person that knows how to set up these audio interfaces, these roadcasters, and these stream decks, that knows how to do all of that stuff behind the scenes. So don't sell yourself
Right.
short, folks. There you go. I'll get off
Mhm.
the soapbox. It
I
ain't
think that
about
was
me,
powerful, man. We
man.
should
Woo.
swap the cams because I need to
Okay.
be in the little corner. You need to be right here because
All
that's
right.
just fire. Listen, I love that. I love that way of thinking because and then that's kind of what we were talking about before, where it's like there's so much opportunity in this space. And I mean, as you become a content creator, you look at it as like I don't enjoy editing, right? Like the
Mm,
moment I could outsource editing, that was what I got rid of because
mm,
there's somebody who's passionate about that, right?
yeah.
Who's geeking out about the new feature in Final Cut, who's geeking out about how to make things happen. Cool. Like if you love that, that's what I want you to do, and I want to give you the ability. So it's like, I truly agree with that. That it's like you don't need to be an A player. Like some people, you can be a superstar as a B player, right? And you think about sports and you think about things, right? Like there are people who are like, you're in the NBA, you're at the top of the top of the top, right?
Yeah.
But you're not a superstar, right? But you do play a big role in the team winning, right? Like no matter if you're one superstar, you still need four of the people on the court, right? Regardless, doesn't
Come on.
matter how good you are, you still need
Come
four
on.
of the people. So I really love that mindset of you thinking about like just understanding that like what's the role that you can play in this process, and what is the thing that you're passionate about in the process to be able to aid the bigger picture. Yeah, I'm 100% for that, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you can take that. You can
100%.
put that on your shirts.
I'm taking that.
I know you
Taking
got
that.
some merch out there
Next
too.
call, taking it. No, I'm telling you.
Just send your boy a finder's fee for that one right
Definitely.
there.
Yeah.
Listen,
Yeah.
man, this was amazing, man, and I
No.
know I'm not even gonna guess. Soon, I know folks got some value out of this because anytime Anthony Santana is on the live, brother, you gonna get some gems. You gonna
Mm,
get some knowledge,
appreciate that.
and the man charges for it too. So y'all got this for
Yeah.
just you know what I'm saying? Y'all
I
got this
love it.
out of the goodness of
I
his
love
heart.
it.
See, Shauna talking
Mhm.
about sports stories. Okay, she wasn't a Denver fan, or was she? Okay, who's
Yeah.
she rooting for?
Can't
She
believe Darren won. She was going for Miami. She don't even
okay.
she
She
know Miami, but she was going for Miami.
okay.
I wanted Denver. You know,
Uh,
that's where
uh,
we conflict at. I
okay.
woke up
Don't she
energized
gonna throw
today.
something at you? Listen, she gonna throw something.
Hey, doors locked. Yeah.
I'm
I
gonna leave
love
it
it, man.
alone.
Yeah. No.
Listen, man. Let me ask you this, kind of in
Yeah, sure.
closing. Where, and I've
Cool.
already put kind of up the website, but
Mhm.
where? Listen, do get who gets me fired up? Yeah,
Yeah, I'll
not
get
me.
fired up. Look, I'm
He
still
talking
fired.
about you. He talking about you. That
Oh,
the guy in the
I'm
big
fired
screen,
up.
not the guy in the little
Listen,
screen. He's talking about the guy in the
uh,
big screen.
you guys all fire me up, man. This has been an amazing week, amazing month.
Yeah, because
I'm just
you
grateful
were
for this
on
to be
with
here, man.
Jim and Chris, the deal
Still
casters,
fired up.
and you were out
Yeah,
there
like
doing some
it's
wonderful
just
things. So,
momentum, man. Coming here is just even more fired up. I'm
right.
like, look,
So there it is, right? I mean,
I'm
there
telling
is
you,
momentum, right? And again, good things
momentum.
happen to good people,
Right.
and karma, and we can call them what all we want to, blessings
Yeah.
and things of that nature. But putting yourself out there at the right place, right
Mm.
time, right spot, right environment, and having something to say.
Yeah.
Okay. Right, right. And
There.
you know what I'm
Keep
saying?
going.
Not just regurgitating mess and
Yeah.
actually rising above the noise, which is
Mm.
what we and I always keep saying that we try to do that because again, we have to consciously make sure that what we're doing, we're putting out there, we want to entertain, we want to educate, but we
Agree.
also want to help influence into kind of how you feel. So
Mm.
doing all those things, we got to consciously make sure that we do that every single time we press
100%.
record, turn these lights on, and hit this microphone. So where can folks find you, man? Because again, you out there everywhere, and I know I put up the website, but again, I want to hear it straight from. I'm not calling you
Yeah,
horse,
man.
but I want to hear it from
Yeah.
your. I want to hear it from your mouth.
Yeah, so you can find me at lastcurry.com/links. And then you'll be able to find me across all social media platforms. I believe that Twitter and Instagram are my most active platforms where I'm doing hand to hand combat. And then, of course, on YouTube is where I'm creating content pretty much almost every day on there. But yeah, that's where you can find me. And I'm just enjoying this process. And anytime that I get to talk about things outside of gaming, it just fires me up because those are the things I'm deeply passionate about. So I appreciate everybody tuning in today.
That's it, man. I love it, man. So we were
Yeah.
out there everywhere. We're exclusively YouTube today. I'm gonna give people FOMO in terms of I'm gonna put this out on
Yeah.
LinkedIn
Yeah.
and Facebook tomorrow though, and say y'all should
Nice.
have been
Okay.
here.
Yeah.
So I'm trying
I
something
love it.
different in the
Okay.
workflow. But man,
Hey,
listen,
experiment. Keyword.
yeah, that's what I'm doing, folks. If you found some
Yeah. Yeah.
value in this, tell somebody and share it. If you did not find value, share it with me. Let me know so we can improve on
Yeah.
the process and get
Love
better.
that.
Uh, gotta say what's up, Shauna, because
Yeah, Shauna,
she's
there you
hilarious
go.
in the comments,
Oh
and
my
I
goodness.
definitely need to meet her as well. But
Fire me up.
Anthony, you doing it, man. Right? I just want
Hey
to say
man, I
this: you
appreciate it.
doing it, man. I just want to give you these flowers, man. Keep doing what you're doing. What you're doing with vidIQ is just a natural progression for your skill set and
Mm.
your talent. It's good squad over there too. You got me to switch from. I'll tell it. You got me to switch from
Hey,
the other competitor to you.
let's
I'm
go.
not gonna be mentioning
All right.
competitors' names on here, right? But yeah, they are managing my channels as well. But I love
Nice.
what you got going, man, with the streamer starter kit, the coaching, the overlays and things of that nature, man. And I wish you nothing but success in all of the endeavors that you do, brother.
Oh man, that's an honor coming from you, and just it just fires me up, man. And I wish you so much blessing as well. And I know this is not going to be our final engagement. So I'm just excited to see where the world goes, man, and where we're heading. I think that we're creating a huge impact, and just great to see the change in other people's lives. So yeah, man.
That's it. Let's do it, man.
Yeah.
Y'all be good to yourself and be care. We out.